Evening, Crispy Cats, and welcome to Bedtime Stories with CrispySkates. And we are picking up where we left off last Friday night with The Wind in the Willows by Graham Webb. All right. I'm sorry, by Kenneth Graham. Graham Webb, I think, is her product. Okay. It was nothing very much, said poor Toad, coloring deeply. I only borrowed a motor car while the owners were at lunch. They had no idea at the time. I didn't mean to steal it, really, but people, especially magistrates, take such things so harsh views of thoughtless and high-spirited actions. The engine driver looked grave and said, I fear you have been indeed a wicked toad, and by rights I ought to give you up and offend justice. But you are evidently in store trouble and distress, so I will not desert you. I don't hold motor cars for one thing, and I don't hold with being ordered about by policemen when I am in my own engine for another. And the sight of an animal in tears always makes me feel queer and soft-hearted. So cheer up, old Toad. I'll do my best and we'll make the beat them yet. They piled in more coals, shoveling furiously. The furnace roared and the spikes flew. The engine leapt and swung still. Their pursuits slowly gained. The engine driver, with a sigh, wiped his brow, and with a handful of cotton waste, said, I'm afraid it's no good, Toad. You see, they are running light, and they have better engine. There is nothing that we can do. There's just one thing left, and it's your only chance. So attend very carefully to what I tell you. A short way ahead of us is a long tunnel, and at the one side of the tunnel line passes through the thick wood. Now I will put all the speed I can, and Lowe's will still down a bit, naturally for fear of an accident. When we are through, I will shut off the steam and pull the brakes as hard as I can. And in that moment, it is safe for you to do so, and you must jump and hide in the wood before they get through the tunnel, you see. Then I will go and speed ahead again, and they can chase me as if they like, for as long as they like and as far as they like. Now mind be ready to jump when I tell you. They piled on coals and train shot into the tunnel, and the engine rushed and roared and rattled till at least they shot out the other end to the fresh air and the peaceful moonlight, and saw the wood lying dark and helpful upon either side of the line. The driver shut off the steam and pulled the brakes. The toad got down on the step and the train showed down it to almost a walking pace, and heard the driver call out, Now jump! The toad rolled down the short embankment and picked himself up unhurt, scrambling up into the woods and hid. Peeping out, he about the train and get sped up and disappeared at great pace. Then out of the tunnel burst the pursuing engine, roaring and whistling, her motley crew waving their various weapons and shouting, Stop, 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 when they passed the toad at Hartley laughed for the first time since he was thrown into prison. But he soon stopped laughing when he came to consider that it was now very late and dark and cold, and he was in an unknown wood with no money and no chance of supper, and still far from his friends and home, and the dead of silence of everything. After the roar and the rattle of the train was something of a shock. He dared not leave the shelter of the trees, and so he struck into the wood with the idea of leaving the railway as far up as possible behind him. After so many weeks within the walls, he found the wood strange and unfriendly and inclined. He thought to make himself fun, night jars sounding mechanical rattle made him think that the wood was full of searching warders closing in on him. An owl swooping noisily towards him hushed his shoulder with its wing, making him jump in with a horrid certainty that it was a hand, then flitted off like a little moth, laughing its low ho ho ho, which Toad thought in a very poor taste. Once he met a fox who stopped to look at him in down the sarcastic sort of way and said, "Hello, washerwoman. Half a pair of socks, a pillowcase, and short this week. Mind it occur again. Thre- Mind it occur again." And the swaggered off sniggering. Toad looked about for a stone to throw at him, but he could not succeed in finding one, which vexed him even more than anything. At last, cold and hungry and tired and out, he sought shelter in a hollow tree, where the branches and dead leaves he had made himself as comfortable of a bed as he could, and he slept soundly until the morning. The water rat rustled, and he did not know exactly why. To all appearance, the summer's pomp was still at fullest height, and although in tilled acres green had given way to the gold rowans where rendering the woods were dashed here and there, and the tawny fierceness yet light and warmth and the color were still present in undiminished measure. Clean of chilly premonitions of the passing year, but the constant chorus of the orchids and the hedges that shrunk into the casual evening song from the few yet unwearied performers, the robin was beginning to assert himself once more, and there was a feeling in the air of change and departure. The cuckoo, of course, had long been silenced, and many others feathered friend for months a part of the familiar landscape, and its small society was still missing too, and it seemed the ranks thinned steadily, day by day. Rat, rat observant and all-winged movement saw it that was taking daily and southing tendency, and even as he lay in the bed at the night, he thought he could make out the passing in the darkness. Overhead, the beat of the quiver, impatient pinions, obedient and perpetual call. Alright, you guys, I'm stuttering. It was a late one tonight. I hope you have a lovely evening. Hi, welcome to the Crispy Skate Show. I was just wrapping up because I'm literally stuttering. It's a little later than I usually do live. But I will be here tomorrow. And I hope you have a lovely evening. This is actually called The Wind in the Willows. It is it's British literature. It's pretty old. I think it's like 1800 something. It's over 100 years old. But we will be back tomorrow. If you would like to catch up, I will drop this in a playlist. I hope you have a lovely evening. Until tomorrow night, keep it crispy.